We have some big breaking news that's coming in. Big diplomatic win for India in the US. United States Supreme Court clears Tahawwur Rana's extradition to India. Tahawwur Rana to be extradited to India. Tahawwur Rana is the 2008 Mumbai terror attack convict. Rana is currently detained in Los Angeles. The US Supreme Court has cleared Mumbai attack convict Tahawwur Rana's extradition to India as it dismissed a review petition against his conviction. In the case, India was seeking the extradition of Rana, who's a Canadian national of Pakistani origin. I'm going to go over to my colleague Gaurav Sawant, who's joining us on the broadcast for more on this. Gaurav, United States Supreme Court has cleared Tahawwur Rana's extradition to India. This is a big diplomatic win for India. What are your thoughts?
This is a major diplomatic win for India, and there's a long process that went into this. It started with the arrest of David Coleman Headley, one of the masterminds of the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks, and his trial in the Chicago Federal Court. I was covering the trial in the Chicago Federal Court, where details of the involvement of David Coleman Headley and Tahawwur Rana, who's a deserter of the Pakistan Army, a major in the Pakistan Army, a medical doctor who had run away from Pakistan, was living in Canada and had opened an immigration firm called First World Immigration. And his immigration firm was used as a cover for David Coleman Headley and for Tahawwur Rana to travel to India and carry out reconnaissance at various places. So finally, wheels of justice are moving. Tahawwur Rana will be extradited to India with the Los Angeles court ruling will be sent to India. And, joining us on this special broadcast is the chief prosecutor of the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks case, Ujjwal Nikam, someone who's interrogated David Coleman Headley and knows this case like the back of his hand. Mr. Nikam, welcome on India Today. Is this finally a win in that long course of justice? You fought for long for justice. You've interrogated David Coleman Headley. What does Tahawwur Rana being brought to India, if at all, mean for India in 26/11 trials, sir?
The ground, you can see the police vans is moving around. You can see the police.
Okay, give me a moment as we try and reestablish this link with Ujjwal Nikam, who was the chief prosecutor of the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks. This is a very, very sensitive case because Tahawwur Rana was not only aware of the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks plot. David Coleman Headley repeatedly briefed him. In fact, David Coleman Headley and Tahawwur Rana are childhood friends from Pakistan. They studied in the same military school, Hassan Abdal Military College. While Tahawwur Rana was living in Canada, David Coleman Headley called him to the United States, told him about details of the areas that he'd carried out reconnaissance in. What's extremely sensitive in this case, Chetna, is the fact that Tahawwur Rana used First World Immigration, an immigration agency that he ran, opened an office in Mumbai. What is worse, he planned to open an office in Delhi. They wanted to carry out similar terror attacks in Delhi. In fact, they wanted to target the National Defense College in Delhi. And David Coleman Headley's plot was that let's kill a busload of Indian Armed Forces brigadiers in Delhi, bomb their bus. So this was the plan of these terrorists, Chetna.
Do you think there's any legal recourse left for Tahawwur Rana in the US now?
The entire legal case has been handled. It's gone through due process. When I was covering this case in that Chicago Federal Court, David Coleman Headley was convicted. Tahawwur Rana was convicted of providing material evidence for that terror attack. The bigger case that still remains is the ISI officers who were involved, because both David Coleman Headley and Tahawwur Rana are aware of not just one major pasha, but also at least a dozen Pakistan Army officers, both serving and retired, who were masterminding the 26/11, who had played a role, whether it was training of these 10 Pakistani terrorists, because David Coleman Headley confirmed as did Pakistan's Federal Investigation Agency, that the 10 Pakistani terrorists, including Ajmal Amir Kassab, had trained in Thatta, Sindh. They were trained by Pakistan Navy. They were given weapons training by Pakistan Army and by Lashkar-e-Taiba. They'd gone through 2 courses of training. One was the Dora-e-Aam and then the Dora-e-Khas. Of weapons training. Hafiz Mohammed Saeed was involved. There was an Indian national who was involved. His name was Abu Jundal or Zabiud Ansari. And he was the one who was directing this entire terror attack along with Hafiz Mohammed Saeed. All of these details came out. There was a involvement of Zakir Rahman Lakwi, Zarar Shah, Sajid Mir, one Makbul Bhatt, one Bhatt. All of them were involved in these terror attacks. And David Coleman Headley and Tahawwur Rana had all details. And if I may, Tahawwur Rana actually wanted Pakistan's highest military award, Nishane Haider or Nishane Pakistan, to be given to the 10 Pakistani terrorists who carried out the terror attack in Mumbai, and was planning for more terror attacks to be carried out in Delhi, where they wanted to kill a busload of brigadiers and target other installations in the national capital. So there's a wider plot that Tahawwur Rana's extradition will help shed light on who are these people who were involved, who were their local handlers, who were the locals that they were in touch with, because apparently Tahawwur Rana is also believed to have traveled to India along with his wife and daughter in the name of First World Immigration Company. It had an office in Mumbai. They wanted to open an office in Delhi. They'd carried out reconnaissance in Karnataka. They'd apparently also traveled to Bangalore. So there were several bits of information that had come out when I was covering this trial in Chicago. The Federal Bureau of Investigation was able to shed light on some details, but more details will now be required. And India's National Investigation Agency that has already spoken to David Coleman Headley, has interrogated David Coleman Headley, is now hoping that the extradition of Tahawwur Rana will shed more light on the role of Pakistani deep state, especially Pakistan ISI officers who were involved in this terrorist attack, in which 166 people were massacred in Mumbai over a course of 3 days, and more than 200 were injured, Chetna.
Right, Gaurav, stay on with me. I'm going to come back to you for more on this. Let's now listen into Ujjwal Nikam, who was the public prosecutor in the 2611 attack case, on what he said on Tahawwur Rana's extradition.
भारत के लिए एक अच्छा ये यूएस गवर्नमेंट ने कदम उठाया है, और ये हमारी भारत सरकार की कूटनीति ही बहुत यशस्वी हुई है, मैं मानता हूँ, जिसके कारण तहावुर राना को अभी बचना बहुत मुश्किल है। मैं ये भी मानता हूं कि तहावुर राना को एक्स्ट्राडिट करने के बाद ऐसे कुछ संगीन राज खुलने वाले हैं, जिसके आधार पर पाकिस्तान की आर्मी के अधिकारी और पाकिस्तान में किस तरह से साजिश हुई थी 26/11 की, और किन लोगों ने इसको अंजाम देने के लिए क्या क्या मदद की, इस बहुत बारे में बहुत जानकारी मिल सकती है।